Hi everyone, today we are going to work through a puff stitch and cross stitch combo, and this is what the combination of stitches will look like. I recently used this in my adventure blanket. I will link that in the comments, or you can just use it in your crochet project. This is the front, the back is very similar. It looks a slight bit different, but not too much, so it's pretty reversible. Again, that's the back of my blanket. That's the front. And so this I'm calling the puff stitch and cross stitch combo. My name is Christine. I am Ambassador Crochet. Let's get started. So for this stitch, it is a multiple of 3 stitches, and then you will need an additional 3 stitches for an extra stitch on the end as well as the beginning chain. For the adventure strip blanket, if this is your first strip, you're going to chain 201. For this, I began with a chain 27, and I'm going to single crochet in my second chain from the hook and each one across. So we'll start in the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to single crochet in each chain across. Now I'm working into the back loop. It doesn't really matter too much for this project. It does leave a nice clean edge if you want that. I tend to work into the back ridge. I feel like it's neater all the way across, but it doesn't matter. You can work into any of these stitches that you're comfortable with. When I get to the end, I can show you what it looks like when you actually work into that stitch, into that back ridge. Okay, let's verify we have the right number of stitches. We want our multiples to work out correctly, so I just want to double check that. Okay, so we have 26 single crochet, and now this would be the top row we just worked into. This is the bottom. When you work into that back ridge, you get a nice clean finished edge. If you're looking for something that you don't want to have to add a border to, that's kind of why I do this. It gives it a nice clean edge, but again, not a necessity. Okay, so for row 1, for row 2, we are going to chain 1, and we are going to double crochet in the first stitch. Then we're going to skip this next stitch. So we double crochet in the first, skip the next, and double crochet into this next stitch, as well as the stitch after it. So skip 1, double crochet, okay? So again, skip this one, work a double crochet into the next one, as well as the one following it. Now we're going to work a puff stitch into this stitch that we skipped. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook, and pull up a loop. And you want to make sure you pull that loop up tall enough so that it doesn't pull down on the project. So you need to try and pull it up a little bit. Yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, and then do that one more time. And you're going to yarn over and pull through all those loops. and now you've made your puff stitch. Okay, so this would be the puff stitch that you just made, and the back, and it does show through on the back. That one's a little loose because I was trying to show you at the same time, but when you do them normally, here I can rip it out, do it a little less slow so that it doesn't have, I like neat stitches. So 1, do that 3 times, 2, 3, and if you make them all even, when you pull through, you won't have that little extra one hanging out that I had like that. So it looks nice and neat. Okay, so then you're going to just repeat that across. You're going to skip the next stitch. Make sure you don't hide any in there. So this one, let me take this off. Okay, so this one that actually looks like it would be the next stitch, there is actually one of the double crochet in there. So you just kind of are going to have to, until you get used to this stitch, be careful you're not duplicating that. So this one would be the puff stitch, and then this one was the double crochet, and this one was a double crochet. So even though it looks like this one's the next stitch, it's actually not. The next free single crochet is actually this one. Okay, so we're going to skip this next free one, and then we're going to work a double crochet here into the following, and one more double crochet, and then we're going to work that puff stitch in that skipped single crochet. Yarn over. It's really hard to do this slow. Pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop, yarn over, and do that one more time. And then you're going to have all these loops on your hook, 2, 4, 6, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7. Okay, and again, this is not your next stitch. This is the one we're going to skip, and then we're going to work 2 double crochet. 1, 2 double crochet, and then we're going to work that puff stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way across. Okay, when we get to the end, you should have 4 stitches left. This is the double crochet we worked into, so we're going to skip this one, double crochet, and then the puff stitch, and then that will leave us 1 stitch at the end. So I'm going to skip this stitch, work 2 double crochets, the puff stitch in the skipped stitch, and then we're going to work a double crochet into this last single crochet from row 1. Okay, so now we have row 1. It's got all the puffs. This puff is a little twisted. It's got all the puffs. And you can't really see the cross stitches behind it, but it just adds a little bit of puff and texture by crossing over those other stitches, and it gives it an angle. Okay, so that was row 2. So now for row 3, we're just going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet all the way across. and we're going to single crochet in all the double crochets and the puff stitches so that we have the same number of stitches. Now we have 26 single crochet. So now this is where we're at. Just kind of boxes it in with a single crochet below it, single crochet above it. This is because I did my chain really loose and I pulled it, but when I do the border on my blanket, it will not look like that. Just so you know, if you do your chains too loose, it kind of, especially in the first row, that happens a lot. Okay, so for the next row, we're going to work a double crochet cross stitch all the way across. So chain 1 and double crochet into the first stitch. And now we're going to do a cross stitch. If you've never done one, that's okay. It's not super difficult. We're going to skip the next stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. So skip 1, double crochet, and then double crochet in the one we skipped. And we're going to work that all the way across. So skip 1, double crochet, double crochet in the skipped. So skip 1, double crochet, and then double crochet in the previous one. And just keep, just keep doing that all the way across.
Okay, we have a few more to go.
Now when we get across to the end, we are going to have one stitch left, and we're going to double crochet in that one stitch. So we have the one left, and we can double crochet in that. So now we have single crochet, puff, single crochet, cross stitch. And we're going to repeat these 4 rows. So the next row I'm going to work is going to be a single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to work a single crochet all the way across. Okay, now that we have our single crochet row, we are going to work another of the puff stitch row, the crossed puff. Okay, so we did our single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn, chain 1, double crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to skip 1 and double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to do a puff stitch in that skipped stitch. So just calling it a puff, it's kind of like a crossed puff, but we're going to work across that. And then we're going to skip the next one and work 2 double crochet. And then we're going to work a puff in the skipped stitch. want to make sure I was getting the right stitch there. And again, don't pull too tight on that. You want to pull it up to the height of your working row. Like I just keep yanking a little bit. I'll show you what happens if you do it too tight. I tend to be a very tight crocheter. So on this one, I won't pull it up and I'll just show you. So if you don't pull it up, you end up with a very tight puff stitch. And it doesn't look as relaxed, first of all. And second of all, if you do enough of them, it will actually, I don't know if you can tell here, but it actually will pull when I do this next double crochet, it pulls on this stitch a little bit. And so it's not going to lay as flat, whereas these, because they're looser, they lay flatter, they look bigger, they just look more normal, whereas this one's kind of scrunched down and it's not as attractive, and it doesn't flow as easily because the first one was a lot tighter because we didn't pull up on it. Okay, so you're going to make sure it'll just look a little bit better if you make sure you pull up just a little bit, just like ½ inch up to the height of the row you're working on. And that makes a huge difference in the stitches and how they look. Okay, we'll do this one more time. When you get to the end, you should have 4 stitches left. Skip 1, work 2 double crochet, puff stitch in that skipped one, and then double crochet in that last stitch. And now you can start to see the repeat work across. We have the puff, the crossed double, and the puff. So now I'm going to work another row of single. And just single crochet in each stitch all the way across. Okay, and we are going to work one more repeat row of the crossed double, just so you can see what the entire repeat looks like with it. So chain 1, turn, double crochet in the first, single crochet, and then the cross stitch, which is skip 1, double crochet, and then double crochet in the skipped one. So skip, double crochet, and then work a double crochet across in front and work it in that skipped one. And we're going to do that all the way across. Almost to the end, and then I'm going to show you what this looks like. I like it a little bit of extra few row repeat, still not too difficult to keep track of. Okay, so this is the setup, and then this is a full repeat, so we actually have this all the way through twice. And this is what the puff stitch cross puff stitch and cross stitch combo looks like. And again, I used it in my adventure blanket. I will post the link in the comments. If you have any questions, leave me a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I look forward to the next video.